situations. You know, we got Def Leppard playing, and I think I even heard some Deep Purple. You would know. We heard some Led Zeppelin, some Hendrix. You know, I mean, just trying to get them in a high intensity, chaotic environment, so that when we get to game day, we can handle the pressure. Part of that today was also adding the officials. You know, sometimes you go out there as a coach, you go, hey, I'm going to get after them today and see where they go, see how they react, you know. And so today I got after them a little bit, and, you know, they handled it okay. But you'll see that's why we go so fast. That's why we have the music going. You know, that's why today we brought the officials in, you know, just to add pressure. So when we get to 3 weeks from today, and we're playing Nevada on August 31st at 7 o'clock, the environment is not surprising to us. And so I think our guys are learning how to handle it well. You know, after 4 practices, you're going to see some good and you're going to see some bad, but the key thing is that you continue to see a trend, upward trend, in terms of being able to handle the stress and the environment and the pressure that we're trying to put on them. And so it's not always going to look perfect out there, but that's okay as long as we're making progress. And I thought today we made progress. I saw some good things. You know, you always get concerned after 3 or 4 practices where the energy is going to go, but the energy stayed high. And if we can continue to maintain this pace and work like we're working, then we're going to keep getting better. You know, we're going to keep getting better physically. We're going to be able to handle the stress, the environments that we get into, and it'll make us a better football team. So sometimes it gets ugly out there, but I think that's good, you know, in the long run, as long as it's not too often. So.
Jack Wasaki fall into the ugly.
Well, yeah, you know, the thing with Miles and Ben is that was a 2-minute situation. And last night, Coach Yarbs gave an amazing presentation to these guys about team over self. And one of his examples was, you know, what is being selfish? And that's throwing a punch. It's fighting. We're in a 2-minute situation, and an offensive player goes down in cheap shots that cost us 15 yards. We're trying to win the game. And so they would both have been ejected from the game right there, so we ejected them from practice. I asked the official, were they out? He says, they're out, so they got to go to the locker room, you know. They have to learn. Miles has to learn quickly. Ben should already know. You know, now I sent Courtney in with him because we don't need it to ever carry off the field, you know. And I'm sure that it didn't. I'm sure by the time they got, you know, at the end of this path, they probably both realized, oh crud, what did I just do?
So it's a throwing a punch that carries a 1-game suspension too. So
yeah, and
Miles get to come back tomorrow.
Miles didn't. Did either of them throw a punch? I couldn't see. All I know is it wasn't what we want in that situation. So we have to learn how to get in those pressure environments where, I mean, it's just intense and it's chaos and there's 80,000 fans in the stands and everyone's screaming. It's the end of the game, and I got to be able to operate. You know, I can't do something that's going to hurt the team, and that happened there today. So it's a great learning experience. I'd rather it happen out here, be able to address it, correct it, show it to them, and learn from it and move on, than have it happen in a game. As everybody knows, one of our problems last year was penalties, and so we're going to involve the officials more out here during camp. They were out here today. They did an excellent job for us. By their count, the issue today was defensive offsides. We had 7 of them in the first 60 plays of teamwork of 11 on 11, and that's not acceptable. That was not a big problem for us last year, but it was a big problem today. So we addressed it and we talked about it, and I had them explain, you know, what the neutral zone is in the words of the officials, or what they're going to warn the offensive lineman with in regards to moving up or off the line of scrimmage. The offense is always going to try to gain an advantage by moving off the line of scrimmage a little bit to buy themselves some time. Your normal reaction as a defensive player is to then move up, but you can't get into the neutral zone, and that's what was happening with us today. So offensively, it was a clean practice. There was only the one false start, which was Caleb, the first play of 2 minutes. But otherwise, offensively, we did not have a penalty the entire day. So we got to continue to work on correcting those things. Those, as we all know, as everybody knows, you know, those hurt us last year, especially at key times. You know, we'd get in the red zone and have a false start, or we'd get a gain and have a false start, or be 3rd and 6, and maybe we'd have an encroachment and then go to 3rd and 1. We've got to eliminate all those things from our program. And by adding the music and adding the chaos and adding the pressure, I think we're going to be able to move through that stuff. So it was good. It was good work today. We kept Thomas out this morning, but he should be good tonight. It was more of a cramp than anything. Does everyone know that practice is at 6 tonight?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. You get that out because we moved it up. I wasn't sure how these lights were going to be. We turned them on last night, and it looks like they're going to be fine, so we can start going a little later if we want. I just want to change it up, but I want to make sure that the fans know what time. The fans were awesome. It was great to have a good crowd out here. I went down there to set up the cones, and a bunch of recognizable faces that you see on, you know, when you're doing the Bruin walk from the bus to the stadium. So it was great. So we're getting a lot of work done, and we'll see how they react tonight. It'll be full pads. That doesn't mean all out, you know, physical assault. We still want to stay on our feet and stay healthy, which I think we're doing a good job of now. But back to the injuries, Duarte, he should be okay to go this afternoon. They had to take Ian off. He got hit in the head. It bothered him. I'm not sure if they're calling it a concussion yet, or if it is a concussion, what the degree is. So we have to be careful with Ian, because you guys recall in spring, I believe he had an issue, so we have to make sure we're good with that. Eddie's making a lot of progress. I think he'll be out here this afternoon. Eric Kendricks is making progress. You know, you see him, really the only time you really see him run is during the warm-ups, and today he was, you know, moving around pretty good. All indicators are that he should be fine for the first game. Figgy will practice this afternoon. When we go to 2-a-days, we're gonna only practice him 1 a day. And it's just to, you know, we don't want to wear his knee out. We want to continue with the rehab process. So he's going to practice this afternoon. He'll be in a red jersey, which is non-contact, but that means he'll be able to get a little bit of work. I thought Eldridge made some improvement late in yesterday's practice and then again today. You know, when you're a long, tall guy like that, and you're coming off of a knee, it's not easy to lower your center of gravity and burst, but he's getting better there. I think he's starting to get his, you know, feel how he's supposed to feel, how he's used to feeling, and we'll see if he can continue to progress. But I mean, I'm pleased at this point. There's things that we're, you know, not pleased with. We've got to get better in all areas, but our guys are working hard, and that's really important.
Johnny Johnson.
Johnny, his shoulder popped right back in. So they're going to evaluate it, and see where he is. So we pulled him out. You saw he had that little brace on. He's had some issues in the past with his shoulder. And so we'll get the doctors to evaluate it, and then we'll make the decision there. But they didn't have to reset it. It was just like a little pop. But we want to make sure that he's okay as well.
So going to be in pads tonight?
We are going to be in full pads tonight. We just had the shells on today. And then you guys saw yesterday we just wore those spider pads, which I actually like, and I think the players liked as well. It protects their AC joint thing a little bit.
The evaluation, they're going to include an MRI?
I don't know yet. I don't know. They haven't told me that. Ant just told me we're going to get the doctors up here and look at it and just see how he feels. But, I would doubt that he'd be out here this evening. Yeah, Johnny I'm talking about. Priest is still a corner.
We were going to ask you.
I figured you would. That's called preemptive strike.
How's your sense of Isaac at the linebacker position? How's his?
That's a great question too. You know what? I was hesitant. I was sitting here yesterday going, I'm not even going to talk about any players anymore, because I talked about Thomas in the next practice. He hurt, you know, he cramps up. But Isaac ran with the ones yesterday some and did really well. And it was interesting because our older players made it a point to come up to Coach Olbrich and Coach Spanos and myself and say, you know what, he fit right in with that group. You know, it wasn't like they felt like there was a kid in there that didn't know what he was doing. The other guy that is doing really well is Cameron Judge. You know, I mean, he stays low, he moves quick, he's got a real high football IQ. I don't know how he'll fit this year on defense, but I think he's certainly got a chance to play on special teams. You know, same with Jayon Brown. I mean, I don't know if you guys, you know this now, I'm sure, but he's probably still listed on the roster as a linebacker, but he's been, we moved him to safety before we came to camp. And he looks like a guy that can do that. He's still learning how to move in space. You know, when he gets back like in a half or playing quarters, that's not something he's done a lot. But when he's moving forward or you get him, you know, in that nickel position, he's pretty good, and I think he could be a heck of a special teams player.
He got another pick today.
Did he? Yeah, I didn't see that. Yeah. Did he? Yeah, he's... oh, yeah, I saw it. Yeah, when he tried to run out, and they were all trying to tackle him. Yeah, I had to learn that, too. I'll tell you who else has been impressive to me so far. Once again, what is this, 5 practices now we've had? Is it 5? I think 5. Well, we had some practices down in San Diego.
This is the fourth
we practiced
year,
down there. You guys just didn't see him. Malcolm, you know?
Jones.
Yeah, Malcolm Jones. You know, we talked all spring about he needed to lower his pad level, right? Get behind his pads and then run with a little bit more of an angry attitude, and I think we're seeing that. The key thing for Malcolm is just to continue to make progress, stay consistent doing that, and I think if he does that, that's a weapon that I think we'll really like having.
Is he still a walk-on player?
Yes, he is still.
Okay.
But he's working hard, you know. I mean, there's a scholarship. There's scholarships available. And I don't want to reward anyone too quickly, you know. I think that we have to see consistency of performance and attitude. And but Malcolm seems to have set his jaw, you know, and he seems very determined. And it's really great to see because he's a kid who has ability. He's a great kid. And you know, to see him starting to kind of really figure it out, it kind of shows you it's really never too late. You know, well, it could be. He figured it out before it was too late, I guess. So I'm happy for him. I just want to see him continue to progress.
Could you see him maybe carve out a goal line role? Does that seem like he would be best suited for that?
Well, I think that I don't want to limit him to that, like short yardage goal line, because I think if you got a 225 pound guy that can get in there and pound you, even in the middle of the game, you know, out on first and second down, I like that. And the thing that, besides him running behind his pads better, is, and you guys watch it, he looks quicker. You know what I mean? Like he looks like he's got more burst to the second level. So besides just getting down and a little bit angrier with his running style, there's a quickness that I hadn't really noticed before. So I hope he keeps going the way he's going because it's great. You know, I mean, he had a tough year last year. You know what I mean? But we welcomed him back. He's worked hard. He's had a great attitude, and man, you just want these kids to have success. So it'd be neat if he was able to keep going.
Is this going to be his last season, or is there still potential?
He did not win. Yeah, you know, that's a good question. I'm glad you asked that, Jack. We appealed, and he did not win the appeal. So this will be his last season. So he's a senior. So let's make the best out of it. I hope he just does great for him and for us.
Christian Morris, has a little bit of twang on that knee or something?
No, he got a calf contusion, but he practiced. You know, he's a ways away right now. He's fighting through it. It's tough. I mean, he's came from Tennessee. You know, he's kind of an introvert at times. He's a great kid. I mean, he's a sensitive soul. It's just, you know, he's got to adjust to this environment. I mean, this isn't high school, you know, and there's some guys around here that have a certain edge to them, you know, which is fine. They're still good teammates. As a matter of fact, they're great teammates, but you know, he's got to meet them halfway, I think, at times. And he's learning that. It's just, you know, different guys adjust at a different speed. Part of our job is to try to help them adjust as quickly as they can. It's different for everyone.
With Joe Fourier gone, do you think you guys will rely as much in the red zone on the Y position, or is that something that's going to have to be spread out among pretty much everyone?
I think probably the second, spread out amongst everyone, and that's okay. You know, I think Shaq can be a real threat down there. You know, Devin, he doesn't have the size, but he makes those acrobatic catches. You know, I think that Thomas Duarte is a guy that could be a threat down there just for the simple fact that he can be a size mismatch. You know, he's 223, 25 pounds, and he's got a really large catch radius. You guys have seen that. He's got the big hands, and so even though he's covered, a lot of times if Brett gets it in there tight, he's gonna catch it. So I don't know that obviously we're not gonna see the throws with a 6'7" Joe Fourier, but we'll do it a little bit differently. You know, you might see Anthony Barr out there a little bit. You might see Cassius out there a little bit. They've got, you know, the 6'4", 6'5" type frames and the long arms. So, yeah. Did Joe play last night? Did they play last night?
They did play last night.
Did you guys know? Did he get?
I didn't see the whole thing,
Worry
but
about one football team at a time.
Sound like me. Anyway, so we're making progress, you know, and every day is a little bit different, but I like the way they're working. It's kind of fun to have lights. It'll be neat out here tonight. Remember last year we came out here and the sun was going down, and we could see, at least we were able to see the ball tonight. At least I hope. So.